Hi everyone. On April 30th, the Holy Orthodox Church celebrates the memory of Saint Ioannikios, the wonder worker or miracle worker of Devich. Now, Saint Ioannikios was born in the town of Zeta, which is near the Adriatic Sea. He was very contemplative and quiet and studious even from an early age. So by the time he reached his later teens, he decided to leave his mother and father and go and settle near a place near the Black River. Now, the Black River was already known as a place of many famous Serbian ascetics over the years who were the pride of the nation. And so he settled there, and some of the people gathered around him to make a small monastic community where they built a very small but impressive little chapel. But like so many of the wonder-working ascetics, even going back to St. Anthony the Great, word got around about St. Ioannikios, and people wanted to come and be with him and listen to his words. And, not unlike some of the earlier ascetics, it became a little too much for him. So he decided to leave that area and flee into a wilderness area named Devich. There he spent many, many years in prayer, silence, hezekiah, learning how to embrace the things of God and to reject the devil. In fact, it is said that later on his very voice would make the devil flee. But even then, people began to gather around him, and finally, because his fame had spread so far and wide, the last ruler of Serbia, Georgi Branković, came and sought him out, because Branković had a daughter named Maria who was terminally ill. And once he had presented her to St. Ioannikios, immediately she regained her health. Branković was amazed at this, startled at such a quick turnaround by the powers of this humble monk. And so he spoke with St. Ioannikios and asked him, could he do anything for him? And St. Ioannikios replied that he would like for him to build a monastery on that very spot in Devich. Now, the monastery itself was quite large and impressive with stone walls and lasted for many, many years. St. Ioannikios, having a premonition of his own death, laid down his soul and gave it back to the Lord, who gave it to him initially in the year 1430, right after the reign of Branković had ended. Many miracles were worked over the ensuing number of years, 500-600 years that were to pass, and including in the time of the 20th century, when the enemies of the Serbs were trying during World War I and World War II to destroy the Devich monastery, and in fact they did succeed, reducing it to nothing but some scaffolding and some stone remains. However, in 1947, a nun came named Paraskivi, and she was able to restore the monastery to its former glory, where it stands today. During that time, and in fact, up until around the mid-70s, miracles were still being recorded at the gravesite of St. Ioannikios, who is buried in the crypt in the monastery, which was never destroyed. Even though they wanted to, St. Ioannikios would never allow his burial spot to be touched. And so the wonder workings and healings continue on even into this day in the new restored monastery. St. Ioannikios is beloved in Serbia and deserves to be beloved around the world, because though he was not a martyr, and though he was not someone outspoken or someone with great theological wisdom, he was someone who sought Christ with all his heart and soul for his entire life, learned how to become a true Christian and defeat the devil. Certainly something that all of us today could take heart in as we learn the same things in our own much smaller ways in order to combat the evil that befalls many of us today in this world. By his prayers, may we continue in our growth towards our Lord Jesus Christ and become worthy of his heavenly kingdom. Bye-bye.